This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
Silent Night, rated R, December 1st.
So you probably only have maybe a day. Well, you probably have till Friday the 22nd, or who knows, it might pick up during Christmas. I just got done watching Silent Night at the Phoenix Theaters in Savoy, where, geez, they always figure a way to mess up a good night. This time being that, we don't have popcorn ready before each set of shows. So, yeah, that's a little frustrating, but hey, that just means it was a $5 night, so I'll give them credit for cheap Tuesdays. So, the movie itself is a great experiment, I guess. It's a virtually dialogue-less action movie. It's a story about Joel Kinnan's seeking vengeance after he is shot in his voice box, after trying to chase down some gangs who, stray bullet hit his kid. So it's a John Woo movie. It's a John Woo movie with emphasized, so it's got potential. But it's a tough watch in a sense that not because of the dialogue. It's just that the first 50 minutes is basically a montage of him trying to become John Wick. Costing him his wife and all that. I don't know what to say about the wife and everything. Yes, the first 3 months where he's drinking himself away, that's when you walk away from him. Not after that. I don't know. But I've been in long relationships that probably needed to end sooner. So, what can you say? But yeah, he goes up against kind of a gang of mixed ethnicity, I suppose. It's probably so John Woo could get his own stuntmen into the movie. I'm sorry, it's an old trope. Whenever there's a Hong Kong action movie and you need somebody smuggling drugs, they usually pick on the Mexicans, because if you put a bunch of sunglasses on them, they will look no different than the Chinese. I could get into a weird conversation about why do we call one yellow and one brown? And, bloody hell, we're all one, I think it was NWA, I'm sorry, not NWA, NWH, from Fear of Black Hat, who said, we all shit brown. So it's a 50 minutes is just the story. Like, you get a great action sequence at the beginning, and again, this is before the voice is gone, but they insist on making this movie as silent as possible, except for all the gunshots and a few explosions. But once you get to that last half hour 35 minutes, the action is solid throughout, and there seems to be very real stakes. And unlike John Wick, this guy isn't exactly up for this. He's not somebody who is meant to kill everybody. There's some great driving. It's not as well directed as a John Wick movie is, I think. That's fair to say, probably because he just, it's a John Woo movie in the States. We're not going to give him resources after his fall in the the early 2000s. They tried, you weren't going to give him a star. You're not going to give him a paycheck. But he's, it's one of those, I think it's almost like maybe he didn't even direct the first portion of the first 2 acts, or he wasn't needed to direct it. The last the final action sequence is pretty solid. It's like, this is John Woo, but it's kind of like, it feels kind of restrained. Like, whenever I tried introducing people to action, it's usually with the hospital fight in Hard Boiled. And, you know, that's real stuff. And I guess it kind of hurts that we don't get any kind of relationships for our character, because he's, you know, he can't speak, and no one else is going to speak to him. There's got to be, like, so you don't get a mentor angle. He is really all alone in this movie, and you're with him, so you feel for our hero, like you're on his journey, and you feel as uncomfortable as he does with it, I guess. So that's very effective in a sense. As for the you know, talking about the hard-boiled finale in the hospital, the biggest problem with the action is that you don't get the environments. They're very dark, dimly lit, and yeah, I get it. It's not Aliens versus Predator bad. It's not really, I guess you'd say it's really not that bad. It's just, this isn't getting the same kind of money Lionsgate's going to throw behind Summit Entertainment to make a John Wick movie. It's, but when you look at the hospital fight, you have the white backgrounds of everything, so the action sits well upon it. You look at, go back to Hard Boiled again, you go with the tea house fight to open it. You know, it's well lit, you get to see everything. And yes, story dictates it's got to be dark, it's got to be night. But, you know, could we have gone and created an environment, like, when you have our villains seemingly listen to industrial rock, which so helped me get along with this battle, you know, you need the kind of lights and stuff. It kind of made me think of Punisher Warzone, in a sense that, okay, yeah, how the director there basically went and, like, well, I'm going to give you ridiculous looking, gnarly looking kills to make up for the fact I don't have I can't have the environment that's appropriate for wide action shots. But there's probably and it just kind of sucks that this came out in the same year as a John Wick movie, because I say, well, you got a great stairwell fight, like, oh, a condensed version of the Raid Redemption, but you want a great stairwell fight, you just watch John Wick 4. So I think this has potential to possibly become a holiday cult classic. It really makes you want to go back to, you know, what could we have done in the silent era, really? Camera tricks might be difficult, but you could have probably had condensed hallway fights back in the 20s, I think. So I like the experiment. I appreciate that they stuck to their guns on it. It's not John Woo's finest, but, you know, maybe $4.99 is a good price for it. I paid $5 to see it in the theater, so they're not going to double my expenses on this one like they did with John Wick Chapter 4. So, yeah, it really comes down to the fact that to do a silent movie like this, and it's a drama, and I think, you know, maybe I gotta go and watch a bunch of silent movies. Like, first one really sticks in my head is Battleship Potemkin, but that's a story about a cause. You don't really need characters there. Here, you kind of do, and an action movie kind of needs some people around that you like. Like, we don't get a chance to have a great villain, and just a guy with a bunch of face tattoos that really don't make any sense. Like, I mean, geesh. It's just like, it looks like he has tattoos. Like, it's almost like he did cover-ups on, and not great cover-ups, just like, oh, thorns over whatever he had. So, and it does get a little, but you do get some John Woo touches. I don't think we got any doves. We got a parakeet, random in Texas, sitting on a ledge, and But we do get his attempt to really make us feel at the end with his journey to avenge his son, and you almost think that we're gonna have the I've become a monster sequence, but we don't. What we really needed was a throat ripping, though. That would have saved this movie. So if you got time, you got a party, throw on Silent Night. I guess there it is. Christmas movie.
Hello there.
So just to have a similar environment, I decided to, as I wait for my wings to finish up, I just decided, well, I'm in the car, might as well just turn the engine off and get the closure out for this one. So I had a good, fun weekend, tattooed, got some fun at some old stomping grounds in Peoria, car's all fixed up. There goes my Christmas gifts, of course. But I'm just glad that I got to at least do a lot, in Central Illinois for my post Black Friday vacation. So with that said, if you want to be on the podcast, send an email to rusthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. And offer me a movie, a director, an actor, a theme. Just try to focus on sub 100 minute movies. As if you go on IMDb, Silent Night, it's an hour 44. The movie ends in an hour 38. So that's what I'm talking about. But I can make anything work. Ask past guests like John Romeo and Andrew Teedy. That's called a marathon. So if you want Amadeus, I will figure out a way. You're just going to have to watch a few more movies. So on top of that 3-hour epic. Otherwise, thanks, Stacia Harden, for keeping an eye on me. It's always great to, think of you. And I'm glad that you've touched so many people in your life. And I'm hoping you're squeezing the ever undead ectoplasm out of little Skimbleshanks, the one-eared angel. It's not a bat, but my new behind-the-ear tattoo, I think is you'd be proud of. So, thanks, Stacia. Thanks, everybody who comes to listen to 90 for Till the podcast with Cat Bus Russ. Let's make 2024 a bigger year. And if you got friends who are listening on the Podbean feed, tell them to knock that shit off.
Can I hear a wahoo?